Hi guys, we are going to be making a 3D mask today. I already have my stencil prepared, but what I will do is I will attach the size to the screen. So hopefully it will pop up now. Ta-da! So, what we are going to do first is we are going to take our backing material, and the way you want to place it is the first piece of material that you have down is your middle piece of material. Now bear with me because it is a little difficult the first time. The middle piece is going to be your back piece, but this is my good quality material that I want facing the face, so that is why that's going to be the middle. On this side, you can't really tell, but this is the better side, so that means it's going to be facing in because I'm going to turn it inside out. I make sure that my stencil has enough room because a couple of times I've gone around it and I've missed out the backing material by half a centimeter, so you don't want to make that happen. So, okay. All this excess material here, I'm going to cut that away. I leave about maybe half a centimeter when I'm cutting. Okay. Now we are going to turn it inside out. And now we take this to the ironing board. Okay, so I've made this into an ironing board because the ironing board does not fit in the shot. So we are going to iron down the whole thing first. This is a good time to check your corners, because like this one here, it's just popped down when I've ironed it. So you just gotta make sure that they're all out. Perfect. Now, what I do, and this is a personal preference, is when I'm doing the ironing here, I actually cut the two backing material, I cut them down by about a centimeter, quite roughly as well. And that is because you're going to be folding down the nose support area, and you don't need these backing pieces of material. So as you can see, it's kind of like a groove in there. You don't have to do it, but I find it's a bit easier. So we're going to start in this middle section here. So this is where you get this really nice rectangle part across your mouth. And we're going to go from those two sides and we're going to fold it down. Just quite rough because we're going to measure it in a second. So always aiming for around 7 centimeters. If it's a few millimeters under or a few millimeters over, that's absolutely fine. That is about 7.1 for me. I'm happy with that. So I will iron it down. Okay, and now I'm going to iron the nose support area. So we're just going to fold that top piece down, fold it down again so it's nice and neat. Now before you iron this down, you need to fold it over and you need to double check the width, or the width, the height of it. This is like the nose area. So this one here is perfect. I'm making a regular. So this is 4.3 centimeters. And that's fine for regular. I would say anything from 4 centimeters to 4.3 centimeters for a regular is good. When you're making a large, you want this piece to be either 4.5 centimeters all the way up to about 4.8 centimeters. If you're getting onto 5 centimeters for the nose piece, that person's gonna have a really, really big pointy out nose. No offense to that person. That is your ironing, and now we can take it back to the sewing machine. You can, if you'd like, to iron these parts down as well. This is the ear tie area, but I find that when I put it in the sewing machine foot holds it down quite well, so I don't do that, but you can if you like. Okay, back to the sewing machine. We are going to sew all the way down these two sides first. Next part is going to be the nose support area. So I use the bottom of a baking, like a disposable baking tray. It's almost like a really strong like alfoil or something. If you buy them at the shops, make sure that you are buying the quality ones and not like the dollar ones, because it really goes a lot longer if you use the higher quality. So I usually just guess the size. I don't really measure it. The one that I have here is 5.5 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters. You can make them longer, you can make them thinner. It's really preference. So what I do is I would fold that over like so, and then I'm going to slip it into the nose area. Now this is where you just have to make sure that the area that you folded down is going to be enough to have the metal nose support inside, and also maybe half a centimeter where you can sew it down, because obviously you don't want your sewing machine going through the piece of metal because it's going to damage the sewing machine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew just straight across to keep that nose support in place. So that nose support is done, and now we are going to do the ear ties. Now I use t-shirt fabric for the ear ties. I cut the t-shirt fabric or jersey material or like any alternative to that has a bit of stretch. I cut it to about 1 inch, and then the length of it is about, this one's about 33 centimeters. It can be anything above 30 centimeters. We're going to lay it down here on the edge. We're going to fold that edge over. But again, we're making sure that the sewing machine is not going to go through that piece of material, because then you won't be able to move it. So it takes a bit of practice, but I promise you'll get there. So sometimes my sewing machine has a bit of an issue doing these ear tie areas, because you're folding over not even 6 pieces of fabric, but you're folding over even more than that if the sewing machine is going through the bits that have been folded on the inside, like the seams. So just go slowly. I had a lot of issues at the beginning. It drove me insane that the machine wouldn't go through the material, but if that happens, just hand stitch it and kind of just go slowly with it. So we're going to do it on this side as well. There you go, it's looking a lot more like a mask now. And this last part is going to determine whether it's going to be a large or a regular size. Of course, if you are doing a large size, you want that nose piece to be, well, the nose size to be a little bigger. Because we're doing a regular size, this nose support area, we want that almost, hopefully you can see that, just at the top. So not going past this section here. That is a regular. Now, if we were making a large, this piece would be bigger because we added an extra half a centimeter or so, which means that when you fold it up, this corner is going up the way past this here. Now that's when you know it's going to be a large, because it just allows a little more area for the nose. This is how you make it 3D. This is kind of the fiddly part, is that what you have to do is you've got to almost have that piece of fabric almost parallel to what you've just sewn with the ear ties. It doesn't have to be parallel. That's really important. It can kind of be like slightly diagonal, but more so straight. So we're holding it like that. It's a little tricky the first time, but it does get easier. Okay, so there you go. You can see that that part is now open. Now I'm going to do the other side as well. And there you go. You have your mask. Well done you. If it looks like this, congratulations. If it doesn't look like this, don't worry. I honestly did about 10 masks after I learned how to do this. Every single one was terrible and I had no idea what I was doing wrong. And it just does come with a bit of practice, so you will get it, don't worry. So yeah, good luck. Any questions, please let me know.